The Simpsons is the longest-running scripted television show of all time, with a record number of 30 seasons and 30 years under its belt. It's been a beloved cartoon favorite, and for many, it's followed us from childhood all the way into adulthood. However, would it surprise you to hear that there may be a darker side to this cartoon comedy? Given that some of the most well-known episodes are the Halloween Treehouse of Horrors, maybe it's not the biggest shock. But some of these theories are definitely a bit freaky.
This kitchen certainly could use a woman's touch.
I'm Kyle with Wicked Binge, and these are creepy Simpsons theories that will keep you up at night. Let's get started.
Oh God, man! Here, drink this paint thinner!
Every Simpsons Treehouse of Horror is canon. The Treehouse of Horror segments of The Simpsons have been an annual event since its second season.
They let you keep the piece of brain they cut out.
The episodes are split into 3 parts and involve the cast in a variety of horrific and supernatural settings. And they often parody well-known pieces of pop culture media, such as The Twilight Zone. These are typically aired around the end of October and are considered a Halloween special feature. Because these episodes take place outside of the regular format and continuity of the series, they are considered non-canon. However, what if there was, in fact, some truth to these episodes? Reddit user MaximusPrime5885 presents the rather nightmarish theory that these episodes are in fact canon and just take place in alternate timelines. Avid Simpsons fans might recall episode 6 of the 6th season where Homer used his toaster to travel back in time. This theory states that in doing so, he created multiple timelines wherein the Treehouse of Horror episodes actually do take place.
If you ever travel back in time, don't step on anything.
This theory is undoubtedly freaky and not completely implausible. Although the toaster episode was also marked as non-canon, Multiverse Theory states that everything happens in some alternate universe. It's not unbelievable that in some Simpsons universe, the events of the Treehouse of Horror episodes actually take place. It is a bit creepy though, and frankly a theory that we like given how awesome the Treehouse of Horror episodes are. Homer Simpson is a vegetable in a coma and has been for over 20 years. This theory is a little more convoluted and even more harrowing. In this theory, Reddit user Hard to Pick a Name claims that Homer has in fact been in a coma since the 1993 April Fool's episode, so it's come to this, a Simpsons clip show. This episode sees Bart pulling a prank on Homer that lands him in the hospital. What makes this episode so chilling is that in October 1992, the episode Homer the Heretic aired, in which Homer has this conversation with God. When Homer asks the meaning of life, God replies, "You'll find out when you die." Homer says, "I can't wait that long." And God says, "You can't wait 6 months?"
Homer, it's a deal.
Astonishingly, exactly 6 months later, the April Fool's episode aired, which sees Homer in a coma due to Bart's prank. At the end of the episode, however, Homer wakes up. Or does he? As the theory suggests, it's possible Homer never wakes up from this coma and the ensuing episodes are simply the work of his comatose imagination. When you delve deeper into this theory, it definitely seems to have a logical foundation. Episodes before 1993 tended to be a little wacky, but ultimately rather on par for typical slice-of-life comedy. For example, Bart cheats on an IQ test, Lisa has a crush on her teacher, and Homer tries to quit drinking.
Well, beer, we've had some great times.
All of these concepts follow a basic, believable plotline, if a bit exaggerated and cartoonish. When looking at episodes aired after the 1993 April Fool's episode, however, the plots become far zanier and ridiculous. Homer goes to space, Mr. Burns captures the Loch Ness Monster, and there's a secret land of jockeys. These plotlines have lost their basis in reality and are arguably a result of Homer's imagination going wild.
Welcome to the secret land of the jockeys.
After all, if we are to look back at Homer's conversation with God, what is the meaning of life? Well, life can have a lot of different meanings for different people. Ultimately, Homer's purpose in life is to provide entertainment. And does he not succeed in doing that with these possibly imaginative adventures? As unpleasant and disturbing as this theory is, it's not completely impossible. It has, however, been refuted by prolific Simpsons writer Al Jean. However, some people might choose to believe it nonetheless, and it still stands strong with its creep factor intact. Bart is destined to join the kingdom of hell, and it's not a bad thing. As you all know, Bart is a mischievous, unruly character.
I just wanted a Bloody Mary.
Each episode starts with him being punished for some misdeed at school, and he's always causing some sort of mayhem around Springfield. He's even shown on occasion to be friendly with the devil, which is definitely worthy of some concern. The devil can undoubtedly see into the future and knows that Bart will someday join him in hell. However, the theory proposed by Reddit user Mirror Spirit is that this is not necessarily the curse it seems. In fact, as freaky as it sounds, Bart may be destined to fulfill a vocation in hell. If you think about it, hell exists to punish evildoers, something Bart already has a knack for at the age of 10. He systematically takes down the homicidal maniac Sideshow Bob, abolishes Whacking Day, and has been both the instigator and the remedy for many of Springfield's weird occurrences.
Bart, I'm very impressed at the independent learning you've displayed here.
As a character, Bart has the charm to lead people in the direction of good or bad.
Sucker.
He's shown to eventually become a justice of the Supreme Court, making moral judgments and handing down punishments to wrongdoers. Does this give Bart the necessary experience to become an assistant to the devil? The writers themselves often call Bart devilish as an over-exaggeration of his troublesome antics. The fact is, Bart is not evil and is shown to have a conscience. If he is in fact destined for hell, it's most certainly not to be punished for all of eternity. Marge Simpson really shot Mr. Burns. In the two-part special of Who Shot Mr. Burns, the cast comes together to find the culprit who shot Homer's decrepit old boss. After a harrowing mystery, leaving fans grappling for clues before Season 7's reveal, the culprit was finally named as Maggie Simpson.
Maggie Simpson!
After a failed attempt to steal a lollipop from her, Mr. Burns dropped his gun into the baby's hands and was shot in the process. This is widely accepted as the truth. For one, Maggie acts very shifty at the end of the episode, despite all of Marge's assurances that it was an accident. Also, Mr. Burns has referred to Maggie as the baby who shot me, but what if Mr. Burns is not being entirely truthful? The Real Jims poses an alternative theory that Marge Simpson was really the one who shot Mr. Burns. This theory isn't actually so far-fetched. Throughout the second part of the special, Marge is seen acting shifty. She changes the subject, often acts like she's in some way covering her tracks, and is shown reacting on screen when the audience hears a gunshot. Though it's just Waylon Smithers shooting Jasper in the leg.
Where is everybody?
Furthermore, it's been well established that Marge is comfortable with guns. Would she be comfortable enough to shoot a man who has victimized her entire family? If so, why would Mr. Burns accuse Maggie instead? Well, if you'll recall, Marge and her mother are the only people Mr. Burns ever loved. His bordering obsessive liking for her is reason enough to believe he'd lie for her. It's definitely a mystifying theory, showing there's more to the mystery to be solved.
You don't have to sue me to get my pants off.
The Dead Bart Theory. The last theory we'll mention today is unlikely, but fascinating all the same. Its creep factor is simply so off the charts that it deserves a place on this list. The theory states that Fox has a weird manner of numbering their episodes due to refusing to count some of them. One of these is a so-called lost episode from Season 1, simply called Dead Bart. The episode was supposedly written entirely by Simpsons creator Matt Groening, who acted strangely anxious throughout production until the episode was ultimately scrapped. The production code for the episode was supposedly later given to Moaning Lisa to cover up the original episode's existence.
I want you to smile today.
But I don't feel like smiling.
The writer of this theory claims that they managed to retrieve the episode at a fan event where Groening appeared distressed and frightened. And it only gets more freaky from here on out.
Blah, 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 bling, 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 blah.
This episode supposedly has lower quality animation, and the characters are just off enough to be uncanny. Homer appears more angry, Marge more depressed,
Take all your bad feelings and push them down, all the way down.
Lisa more anxious, and Bart seems to carry genuine hatred for his family. It automatically sets an eerie feel. The plot is allegedly about a plane ride the family takes. However, as Bart gets up to his typical antics on board the flight, he breaks a window and is sucked out to his death. That the animated style represented life, and that it would turn more realistic and still upon death. From here on out, things get increasingly dark. The family cries over Bart's death for the entire second part, as the images and animation decay and start to become more abstract. The family becomes skeletal husks of themselves as the title card claims a year has passed. What's horrifying is the pets and Maggie are nowhere to be seen. And the most chilling part of this episode is the supposed ending. As the family visits Bart's grave, the camera pans over all the other gravestones. Listed are every guest star The Simpsons has ever had in subsequent seasons and the dates of their deaths. What's truly hair-raising is for celebrities such as Michael Jackson who have died since, the death dates are accurate, and horrifyingly, many of those who haven't died yet have the exact same death date listed. While the theory is almost certainly false and borders on creepypasta, it's definitely enough nightmare fuel to keep you clutching your covers at night. But what do you think? Do any of these theories make sense? Do you have any creepy Simpsons theories of your own?
Must eat more fat people. Thank God I'm in America.
Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. But most importantly, stay wicked.